evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone doing? Fantastic. I'd like to introduce you all and welcome you all to Your Time Is Now.
Right, the next thing I was going to talk about is how you develop you as an individual. Because law is something that's, as I said again, it's quite competitive. So depending on where you want to, what sort of firm you want to work for, what sort of area of law you want to get into, you may find that you probably need to spend a lot of time on working as you as an individual. And sometimes that means that you may have to spend time sort of reading a paper. May not be, you know, sort of the most interesting thing for most people, but current affairs are crucial. You know, make sure you sort of know what's going on, you know. You don't have to know the detail of everything, but make sure you know the big things, you know. The fact that there's a new government in power and it's a coalition, please make sure you know that. If you don't know anything else, if you don't even know who the Prime Minister is, you know, just make sure you know the basics, so that if it comes up in conversation, you're like, really, I didn't know. It was on the news for like how many months? How could you not know that? And the thing is, when you do that, they think there's no way I'm putting this individual in front of one of my clients. No way on this earth. So be current, know what's going on in the world. The other thing I would say as well is sort of just work on what makes you different as a person. So if there are things about you that are that make you stand out, work on those things as well. And don't be frightened if you don't know everything. I'm not expecting you to know everything. I remember I had a sort of client who was quite keen on golf. And I hate golf. I have no interest in the sport whatsoever. What I did do was I just studied golf for about a few hours every day before I had to meet him. Just so that I knew, you know, what a handicap was, what, you know, the sort of major golf tournaments were, so that by the time I met him, you know, although he was old enough to be my dad, I had something to talk about. Because I'm sure he wouldn't have really been interested in what I tend to do on the weekend. So, you know, giving him something to talk about and having a common, I wouldn't say interest because that would be going too far, but having something to talk about that he was interested in meant that we immediately had a rapport. So they need to know that you're confident, they need to know that you can communicate, they need to know that you're articulate. So you really need to sort of work on being a confident, articulate, and just well sort of rounded individual. So I'm not asking you to, you know, sort of not be you, because you need to be you. You need to be comfortable with being you, and they need to know, they need more of you in their firm. So, you know, be real to yourself, but just work on developing you as an individual and just sort of be open-minded. I sort of at one stage wanted to go to Hong Kong for a year once I finished university and teach English. My dad wasn't having it, but had I gone, it would have been a fantastic opportunity. I think I would have learned so much. You know, I would have, you know, had something to talk about when I got back to the UK. You know, people would have, it would have developed me as an individual, because you're in a totally different countries. My dad said, yeah, 15 hours a week. So if anything would have happened, you know. But my dad was, you know, I didn't do it, but I don't regret not doing it. I've done other things. But these are the things you should be thinking about. What can I do? If you're going to take a gap year, like, what could I do in that year? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with working in McDonald's or Next, but think about what you could do.